Seeing as how many in Preds Nation are also members in the Venn diagram of Two-Tone Blue Nation, maybe we should start off this video with the good news that 2 years to today, the Titans hire as their head coach the man who defeated them when they were supposed to go to the Super Bowl as the opposing team's offensive coordinator. Any word on if he is indeed Big Tommy Callahan's brother? I've got to delete Tommy Boy off the DVR. Preds lose 2-1 to the Florida Panthers Monday night inside Bridgestone Arena. Oh yes, I know it was 4-1 at the end, but that was with 2 empty netters. Really, it was 2-1, but the Preds, you never really felt were in this because Florida, who's a much better team, outworked them, outclassed them all night on the ice and obviously the scoreboard on a night when the Preds were supposed to be honoring the team from the expansion season against the team that they played in their very first regular season game. Oh, and look, the Preds copied the same result, not score-wise, but by getting 0 points. If you remember back on October 10th, 1998, the Preds lost 1-0 to the Florida Panthers franchise. I will say, it was nice to see former Preds that I was rooting for as a teenager when I decided to start watching and rooting for this team back inside Bridgestone Arena, back in the expansion season when this arena was just known as Nashville Arena. Cliff Ronning, Denny Lambert. I saw Jeff Nelson. God rest the soul of Greg Johnson, who would have been there in person if not for his mental health. And heck, how many of you knew the answer to the trivia question on Bally Sports about who was the first Pred to record a hat trick? You ask me any question, obviously now or in the past, but definitely I will outclass any Pred fan, almost any Pred fan, on Preds trivia pre-2004 when this team was not cool to root for. Yes, and one more thing to quickly vent about. As many of you know, I have NHL Center Ice, and most nights you do get 2 feeds where you get, for example, for this game, you would think 1 for the Panthers and 1 for the Preds. Sometimes you only get 1 feed, and sometimes I'm very lucky when it's only 1 feed and I still get the Preds feed. But tonight, I got 2 feeds, so I felt relatively comfortable. Okay, good, I'm going to get to watch Bally Sports. Nope. Screw you, TELUS. How in the world does both feeds have the Panthers Fox Sports feed? Should have told me that this game was off to the wrong start. In net, the Preds decided to go with UC Charles, and the Panthers went with Anthony Stolarz, a goalie who had never played the Preds in his career. Oh yes, good, because that always happens to the Preds when they face either a rookie goalie or a goalie who has never faced them. Of course, I should have known that he was going to get the win. It's written in the stars of the Preds' bad luck. And to start, the Preds can't generate much in chances. I thought after the way the Preds had outshot and then lost against Vegas and then Arizona on Saturday, that when the reverse was done to them, with the Panthers out shooting the Preds, how do you let this happen? 14-4 in the first period. I thought, okay, good. Saros, good battle tested and everything, and then maybe the Preds can get a lucky bounce and get some momentum going. But nope, it's scoreless after the first period. Not a whole lot better in the second period for the Preds. They kept the shot clock a lot closer, being outshot 14-12 by the Panthers. But maybe a sign of things to come. Somebody who usually plays a lot better, Yakov Trenin. Really, buddy, really. 3 minors and a fighting major? Mind you, though, with your boarding, yeah, that should have been a boarding call, but it shouldn't have constituted a fight. I wish the refs would start maybe sending an instigator and maybe not toss the guy, but maybe put a rule in that says you get an instigator if you automatically want to fight if you disagree with a hit, clean or wrong. If you're not going to let the refs clean it up immediately, then refs, you got to call the player for doing that, because if it's a good hit, then the player shouldn't have to fight. And then if it's a bad hit, then you assess it and keep it clean from getting any worse. You're supposed to be the official to keep the peace. With that shot clock difference being so close, I will give the Preds credit. The second period was probably their best period of the game, considering what would go on in a third. Panthers opened the scoring. Sam Reinhart on a power play, but Jeremy Lauzon, who has been so improved this season, I'm very happy to see the direction that he is going. He ties it at 1. And I'm thinking, and I don't know how many of you were thinking, maybe the Preds can pull this one out in the third. But nope, the Preds would not be able to climb back because just over a minute in, again, a bad period start, whether it's the first to start the game, the second, or definitely the third when you want to will a game home. This team is having bad starts to start a period and it has to stop. Carter Verhaeghe gives the Panthers a 2-1 lead, and I will give the Preds credit in that third period for outshooting the Panthers 11-10. At least you can say you got double digits in shots to try and tie the game up. And then the refs, the last 3 penalties of the game were called on the Panthers, so at least you were getting chances on the power play, but you weren't setting up to do anything. Bruno pulls Saros not once, but twice. You can't anybody out there blame Saros for losing this game because he played one hell of a game and deserved a better result. Both times that Bruno will pull Saros late, the Panthers scored into the empty net. The exclamation point that made it 4-1 was by Matthew Tkachuk. Panthers just outclassed, just what the Preds ordered to stop the Panthers' losing streak, as now the Preds are in a losing streak. And last time I checked, let me check the updated score, the Coyotes were winning. Yes, they did indeed win 5-2. So now they're 2 points within catching the Preds. You know, I was debating with some Preds fans on Twitter as this game wound down, and afterwards, it's like, what is this team now through 47 games? It's obviously not a division contender. It's really not a playoff contender. If they make it, they're probably going to get swept, if maybe win 1 or 2 games, because Saros will play out of his mind, just like what happened with Colorado, and that was without Saros. Heaven forbid he get hurt if Lankin is not given enough starts, which it's obvious that as long as he's on this team and not traded to somebody else who wants a goalie, Lankin should get in there, keep Saros fresh, especially because you want Saros healthy in case the right deal comes along to improve the team. Barry and Bruno. This team at most is a wild card contender just to make it. So really, we got to really start looking at this team. And now that they've lost 3 of the 4, they're in a rut. They're basically what they are with this lineup right now. Aside from the first line, who can't do it all by themselves, because when they're on, they're on. But when the opposing team's best defenders shut them down, it's a lucky coin flip if the supporting cast. I'm looking at the forwards. There's parts on this defense that are good, but they can't get in there. They're defensemen. They're not supposed to do the job of forwards who should be picking up the slack. So hopefully, Barry Trotz, general manager, I trust in you. You've taken over. You've learned well from all your years as coach and having some influence on general managers that you've worked with. The 2 top ones being David Poile and Lou Lamoriello with the New York Islanders. That hopefully the right phone call comes soon and you can swing some pieces, because I don't really want to get into it right now. But this team has a lot of unrestricted free agents, so that means a lot of pieces that could possibly be moved, making way for younger players. But mind you, though, I'll be interested to see what pieces the Preds can get back that can go right off the roster. I don't want contracts that are going to be on this team after this season eating up cap space, because I want cap space cleared to give pay raises to the younger players who deserve it. And I don't want to disrupt Milwaukee. What is Milwaukee now? Won 7 or 8 in a row? I want that team to gel. And if I don't get to say it later this season, when covering the Preds, I think it's safe to say, I'd like to think this time, is that this will be the last season that Carl Taylor is coach of the Milwaukee Admirals. Maybe he'll be Andrew Burnett's assistant next season, but he'll be somewhere else because he is doing wonders with the Admirals. Back to the Preds. They will have 2 full days off now to figure something out. I would give Saros the 2 days off, put Lankinen in Minnesota, and then start Saros in Edmonton on Saturday on the road before your 2 last games next week before the All-Star break. So anyways, that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. You can find my social media and interact with me during Preds games by finding me by clicking on a channel name. Tell all your friends about Predemption. And this team, more than any in a while, is just about teaching themselves patience and this fan base.